Jaga is a teenage detective who doesn't rest till he gets to the bottom of a mystery. When his adoptive father disappears for years, he teams up with Shruti to uncover a national threat. In 1995, a film crew recorded farmers dancing to a folk song in Purulia. A man struggles with a mirror, which gets mistaken for a signal by an aircraft. They deploy the goods, and the villagers of Velamur find weapons falling out of the sky. The actual regiment is waiting for the goods with their signal, but the aircraft misses them. This becomes national news as India's internal security comes into question. Purulia's arms grab headlines, and everyone wonders where the weapons came from. In the magical world of Detective Jaga, Shruti distributes his comic books. The latest one is about the magic of the red circle. Children get autographed Jaga masks and t-shirts. Shruti wants to start narrating the first book, but someone wonders if Jaga is real. Shruti changes the plan and decides to narrate Jaga's story from the beginning. Young Jaga is found in a hospital in Mainaguri after losing his parents in an accident. The hospital becomes Jaga's world, and everyone loves him. He does errands for the hospital and sleeps under the stairs in a tiny cot. He is lonely and doesn't talk much. One day he finds an injured man and brings him to the hospital. Tutti keeps asking for Jaga's name, but he never responds. He learns that Jaga doesn't talk because he stutters. Tutti finds Jaga playing with a goat and starts singing about them. Tutti tells Jaga about a friend, Babu, who couldn't talk because of his stutter. Everyone thought he was mute, till he suddenly started talking one day. This seems encouraging. Tutti explains how the brain is like a walnut with two parts. While the logical left side is used for talking, the creative right side can be used for singing. Babu learned to sing from the right brain, so he could get the confidence to speak. Tutti asks Jaga a question, and makes him reply with a song. Jaga is surprised he can clearly convey his thoughts as he sings. Jaga becomes more vocal, and Tutti adopts him. The pair get very close, and Jaga does everything with him. They get spotted during a protest one day, and Tutti's face is all over the newspapers. Someone finds him, so Tutti and Jaga escape from a secret exit. They hide behind a scarecrow in a basket. Such a convincing hiding place. But the man knows Tutti is there and leaves a note for him. Tutti has to leave Jaga for at least 6 months. He promises to be back soon, but Jaga knows he's lying. Tutti is gone from Jaga's life, and he is left with a lot of unanswered questions. His mind becomes more curious by the day, and he aches for mysteries to solve. He finds an inscription on his desk from a particular year and tracks down the couple's house. When he learns that his wife died, Jaga brings the desk to his house as a secret gift. Shruti knows his story well since she is a part of it too. But she begins with the mystery of a clock tower. In Jaga's school, Mr. Paduri is the physical education teacher, while his wife, Miss Paduri, teaches history. There's also a charming English teacher, Miss Mala. During Miss Paduri's class, the kids watch as Miss Mala jumps from the clock tower. Everyone thinks it's but Jaga knows it's murder. He doesn't believe that a person who bought milk that morning and soaked beans at night planned to end her. The cops don't believe Jaga, but he insists it's a murder. Jaga knows from the milkman that Mr. Paduri and Miss Mala met secretly in the clock tower. That day, Miss Paduri was seen entering the clock tower too. While all three of them went in, Mr. and Miss Paduri were seen running out. At the time Miss Mala fell, both husband and wife were in school. Jaga tries to figure out how the murderers were in 2 places at one time. Now that's a real mystery. Jaga remembers what Tutti taught him about the cereal box. In the past, Jaga thought it was unfair he had to eat the whole cereal box to get the sticker at the bottom. Tutti simply makes him turn the box and open it from the bottom to get his sticker. Tutti wants him to learn that there's always a different solution to something simple. Jaga cracks the case and explains that Miss Mala and Mr. Paduri met secretly that morning. The milkman spots them and reports their meetings to Miss Paduri. When Miss Mala comes to the clock tower again, she finds Miss Paduri waiting for her. They get into a spat and a physical fight. Miss Paduri accidentally throws Miss Mala inside the clock tower, where Mr. Paduri finds her body. Mr. Paduri then gets a rope, and the couple uses a magic knot to tie Miss Mala's body to the clock tower and run away. Jaga has learned about this knot from Mr. Paduri's classes, who is an expert at trying it. It seems tight but can easily come off once it's pulled right. The couple linked Miss Mala's fate to the hand of the clock so they would be spotted in school when Miss Mala's body fell. Who could have observed all this? Jaga saves the day, but he gets lonely in the hostel when everyone goes home for the holidays. He only has a collection of videotapes to keep him company. Tutti sends him a tape for every birthday from whichever part of the world he is in. In these tapes he teaches him the basic things dads teach. He shows her the correct way to shave and how to operate a gun. He also teaches sports and how important it is to do things right. Jaga feels lonely and abandoned, but has great memories of Tutti Frutti. He has a map in his room to figure out which part of the world Tutti Frutti might be in. In Mbaka, Tutti Frutti hands over photos and mortality certificates to Sinha, the man who was chasing him. He sets Tutti Frutti free, but he drives fast and is scared for his life. Sinha's man finds Tutti Frutti and shoots at him with Jaga's last tape in his hand. Shruti knows there's more to this story, but the answers are in Jaga's third book of the series. She wants the kids to know about the murder on the giant wheel first, since she's in this story too. Shruti sits on a bus heading to Manipur and gets off at the cafe where Jaga is sitting. He watches her fall exactly like Tutti Frutti used to. That's a funny coincidence. She is equally clumsy because she spills water on Jaga's friend like Tutti Frutti spilled milk on him. Jaga follows her and bumps into a man carrying surgical instruments. Jaga follows this man and finds him forcing a doctor at gunpoint to heal someone. Jaga tries to call the inspector, but he hears a gunshot and tries to chase the shooter. He goes back to the crime scene and finds a magazine with Shruti's photo in it. Tumba, the man he bumped into, takes Shruti to the giant wheel. He gives her some information on the wheel, but someone stabs him. The murderer gets out of the ride, and Jaga follows him. Shruti is screaming because of the ride, and doesn't realize she's holding a knife stuck to Tumba's chest. This looks very bad for her. She runs away but finds Jaga in her house. He explains that he stutters, which is why he wants to sing his side of the story. This day couldn't get weirder for her. Jaga wants to help her but needs to know her role in the murder. He knows Tumba was her informant since she's a journalist working on the illegal arms story. She threatens to call the cops, but they're already on their way. Her fingerprints are all over the murder weapon. She thinks she can take care of herself but falls from the window. It seems like she really needs his help. Shruti admits that after Jaga saw her moving into the hotel, she got a call from Tumba to meet in the evening. Jaga then bumps into Tamba, who is an ex-militant trying to save his brother. The militants who shot his brother are involved in the illegal arms trade. Tumba and his brother became Shruti's informers to expose the cross-border arms trade. Jaga sneaks her into his hostel and ties her to the chair for safety. He wants to figure out this case while the Manipuri militant leader, who is at the giant wheel too, wants Shruti murdered. Shruti frees herself with a matchstick by burning her rope. She jumps into the boys' washroom and makes a grand exit. The inspector gets a call about her in the hostel. Jaga starts running randomly and drags Shruti to his room without anyone noticing. Seems like a plan. The whole place is on fire because of Shruti's tope, but they manage to escape without clothes. All of Jaga's possessions have been burned, and he knows he's not allowed entry into the hostel anymore. He is mad at Shruti for causing the fire, but she reminds him she never needed his help. They join a circus act where Jaga volunteers to get attacked with knives. The man wielding the knife is Tumba's murderer. He recognizes Jaga and tries to actually end him. Shruti moves his wheel, and they fall into the river. So much for entertainment. The murderer throws knives at the bride, and more people try to attack them. Jaga and Shruti escape, but she is worried she'll get charged with murder. Jaga wonders who else knows she's a neutral. She claims only her editor knows, but he asks about her colleague, Akash Vidyarthi. They have shared bylines, but he doesn't know where she is. She doesn't reply directly, but claims they started writing separately after their engagement. Shruti still loves him, and remembers the day he was shot in front of her. They join the little girl who helps Jaga, and she hands over all the files he asked for. They read about the bodies found recently in the forest. Jaga knows Netaji's book is the biggest clue for them. He remembers the day he asked Tutti Frutti about Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Tutti Frutti informs him about a war against the British in 1944, when Netaji attacked via Burma. He used a hidden track under the hills through a small cave. It has a river that begins in Myanmar and opens in Ukhrul. It also leads to the Kayan tribe, whose members stay in the shadows. Sounds pretty ominous. Jaga knows the same route is now being used to smuggle guns with the help of elephants. Jaga frees an elephant, which guides them to the others. They find the smugglers and enter the cave. They travel in the raft but are caught by a militant leader who has been looking for Shruti. He reminds her of the time his team murdered Akash in front of her and thinks she is stupid for not taking their warning earlier. Jaga knows he's going to attack, so he causes a diversion and jumps into the water with Shruti. They find a way out through the railway tracks, but Jaga's foot gets stuck. Shruti tries to help him but knocks herself unconscious. Perfect timing. The smugglers come out to attack Jaga and Shruti, but the inspector finds them and busts their racket. Shruti dances with the locals and is preparing to leave. She thanks Jaga for looking out for her and asks him to call if he ever needs help. Jaga is in love and celebrates his birthday with his friends. He waits for his videotape from Tutti Frutti but doesn't get any this year. The militant leader apologizes for losing Shruti and Jaga, but his boss shoots him to his demise. Sinha is excited to share the video of the mortality certificates that Tutti Frutti handed over to him. He knows this tape can expose their godfather, Bashir Alexander. The tape for Jaga's birthday starts playing instead, and Sinha is embarrassed. Jaga keeps waiting for his tape till the inspector comes over to show him Tutti Frutti's obituary. Jaga learns that he's Professor Bagchi, who gave him a fake name to preserve his identity. Shruti explains that Bagchi was responsible for the incorrect arms drop, because of which the whole world learned about the racket. The emblem signifies Bashir and Alexander, but no one has ever seen them. They are Interpol's most wanted illegal arms smuggler and supplier. India is their biggest market since there are around 500 militant groups. The next book is about illegal arms suppliers. The day Tutti Frutti meets Sinha, he also hands over a newspaper clipping about the Pope airdropping cakes in 7 countries. Sinha knows they will airdrop weapons instead, but feels the CIA can handle it. After he lets Tutti Frutti go, he asks his man to murder him. Tutti Frutti knows the man is following him, so he drives faster. The man shoots at him, but Tutti Frutti's clumsiness makes him crash into a pile of papers. He escapes, and Tutti Frutti keeps driving with the tape in his hand. He eventually crashes into a tree in the middle of nowhere. Surely there is more to the story. Tutti Frutti has always been so clumsy that he packed the wrong tapes by mistake for Jaga and Sinha. Typical Tutti Frutti. Jaga arrives for his prayer meet and takes all the photos from the memorial. Sinha finds him and explains that Bagchi is his colleague. He admits he put the obituary in the newspaper to find Jaga. He takes Jaga to his office, and he remembers Sinha left Tutti Frutti a note when he was a kid. Finally, some answers. Sinha explains that Tutti Frutti had a murder charge on his head and was running from the police. He was innocent, so Sinha offered to help him get the charges dropped if he worked for them. Sinha claims to work for an intelligence department, which is a government body. 6 years of Bagchi's hard work were on the tape he was looking for. He shows Jaga the birthday tape and feels his tape is with Jaga. When he asks for proof of demise, Sinha shows him a charred body from 3 weeks ago. Jaga starts laughing and claims he got a call from Tutti Frutti 2 weeks ago. He gets a reaction from Sinha when he mentions Mbaka. It looks like there's still hope. Sinha asks Jaga to stay overnight, but he runs away. Sinha sends all his men behind Jaga, but he finds Shruti's apartment. She is throwing a party for Akasha's birthday, and is drunk. Jaga shows her Bagchi's obituary when the party is over. She knows him from the Purulia arms drop case too, and thinks it's a funny coincidence. When she passes out, Jaga searches for Bagchi online. Bagchi has been dubbed Bad Luck Bagchi by all his students because trouble always followed him. The world would not know about the Purulia arms drop if it wasn't for Bagchi's clumsiness with the mirror. After the case comes out by accident, Bagchi gets seriously involved to get to the bottom of it. He starts collecting proof and sends his student, Samrat, to snap pictures for evidence. A newspaper starts printing his findings, but this puts Bagchi on the radar of powerful people. Sinha turns up at Bagchi's place as the investigating officer for the arms drop case. Jaga learns Sinha has recently been fired on corruption charges. Jaga thinks Sinha hired Bagchi to gather information for blackmailing powerful people. He knows Sinha has a team of 7 men, all of whom were in Jaga's birthday videos. Jaga is sure Bagchi is alive, which is why Sinha is worried about his mission failing. He learns that Bagchi was charged with Samrat's murder, whose body was found in the boot of his car by cops. Bagchi managed to escape and ended up in the field where Jaga found him. Bagchi always believed 2 people were destined to meet in a red circle. It seems a pretty dangerous circle. Shruti promises to help Jaga but spills ketchup all over her croissant while taking a call. She has arranged for Jaga's passport so he can search for Tutti Frutti in Mbaka's Hotel Agapastala. Jaga begs Shruti to come with him because she's a carbon copy of Tutti Frutti. Who could have guessed? Jaga knows they both attract bad luck, which will help him find Tutti Frutti. She is afraid of ruining his plan, but Jaga feels they were meant to meet in Ukral. He also feels her bad luck usually brings good luck to him. She thinks he's being illogical, but he has studied Tutti Frutti's bad luck a lot. There seems to be a study on everything. She asks him to prove it, so he makes her pick out an egg from a set of 36. He has done the same experiment with Tutti Frutti, and only someone with bad luck picks out the only cracked egg from the lot. The inspector's boss, Gupta, informs Sinha that Jaga was responsible for the arms racket bust recently. Sinha is sure he has the tape with him because he doesn't think anyone can figure out the Burma route so easily. He's in for a surprise. Sinha also learns Shruti has teamed up with Jaga, so he gets on the flight with them. The postman finally arrives with Jaga's tape, but it reaches the police station. Sinha's man tries to fire at Shruti and Jaga, but he keeps making plants fall on them. Sinha reminds him they are supposed to follow the pair and not murder them. Shruti learns that there are 98 hotels with the same name in Mbaka. Tutti Frutti could have stayed at any of them, but Jaga assures her he has a plan. He asks the driver to take them to the first on his list, and Sinha follows them. Gupta informs Sinha about the tape, and his client, Ahuja, is satisfied with his contents. But Ahuja now wants Sinha to end Shruti and Jaga. He thinks they're a threat and plans to harm Sinha's family if he doesn't oblige. Sinha looks for their room in the hotel and starts shooting everyone in his path. Jaga and Shruti get alerted about his presence and start running away. They manage to escape, but their passports and money are now with Sinha. They keep going to different hotels by the same name to search for Tutti Frutti. Sinha is alerted about their route and knows they're headed to Shundi. Shruti keeps remembering Akash and wants to head back to India. Jaga reminds her of her promise, but she is frustrated they don't have money and cops keep trailing them. Jaga wants to keep trying if there's even the slightest chance that Tutti Frutti might be alive. He feels Shruti should understand something like this when she's still celebrating her deceased boyfriend's birthday. What a low blow. He does feel bad for overstepping, but she reminds him no one can replace him. He pretends he's not trying to, but she wants him to go with her to the embassy to get their passports. They head out, but Shruti falls from the top of the stairs and injures her hand. Shruti and Jaga complain to the staff. Shruti feels they should have railings, and anyone can fall from there. The manager points out that the entire city has the same architecture. No one has ever fallen down these stairs in 20 years. A man from the staff remembers that just this year, another man fell down like Shruti. This is the sign Jaga needs, and they identify Tutti Frutti as the man who fell. If only all mysteries could be solved like this. The manager knows he stayed in their hotel for a while, but kept going to Shundi. Jaga and Shruti find Bagchi's hideout in Shundi, but Sinha finds them too. He wants his men to end them, but Jaga reminds him he is right about Tutti Frutti being alive. Sinha doesn't care, because Tutti Frutti is of no use to him. His priority is to slay Jaga and Shruti so they don't get back to India alive. Shruti tries to promise all the men that she will marry them in the local language. Nice try, but it doesn't work on Sinha. Jaga shares his findings about his spy group with Sinha, and he feels Sinha started blackmailing people after the airdrop failed. He knows Bagchi's wrong tape has ruined Sinha's plan. He doesn't know Bagchi has found the tape, so these tactics won't work. Jaga has another plan, and starts distracting Sinha's men with a dance. He knows the floorboard under him is lost, and they fall inside someone else's house when Sinha starts shooting them. Conveniently, the neighbor is playing a similar video game and completely ignores the real bullets. How convenient. Shruti's bad luck leaves her stranded on a pole, but she finds her way to Jaga. They're being attacked from everywhere, but Jaga drags them across a rope till they can flee in a boat. As Shruti drives, Jaga tries to find some clues in Bagchi's diary. He only finds tic-tac-toe and other board games. Shruti is distracted and crashes the car into the same tree where Bagchi did. The coincidences are now getting weird. Jaga wakes up in a tent of a tribe, who recognizes Bagchi from the photo found with Jaga. They take Jaga and Shruti to the place where Bagchi used to stay. Jaga can already picture him recovering and teaching kids. The tribals informed him that Bagchi was in a similar car accident. He has left a diary behind, which mentions his mission to find Bashir Alexander. Bagchi learned that Sinha was only using his team for information. He would have been deceased too if the tribals hadn't saved him. He plans to expose the illegal arms racket and inform the world that Bashir Alexander is one person and not two. Bashir Alexander was born in Afghanistan in 1960, with 2 heads. That explains the logo. His father sold him to a Russian traveling circus, but he soon murdered the owner and took over. He has gone underground after that, and no one knows what he looks like. None of the intelligence agencies even have a picture of him. It is rumored that he attends an underground arms fair every 3 years. Conveniently, the Fair of Demise is being held in Mbaka this year, and Tutti Frutti might already be on the old circus train. Sinha finds them at the hideout too, so a local helps them escape on ostriches. I was wrong. This can get weirder. They arrive at the station, but the circus train already left last night. It's heading to the Mbaka border, so Jaga and Shruti steal a man's bike and head in that direction. Sinha closes in on them again, but Jaga finds a plane. He asks Shruti to sit in the front while he operates it from the back. He only knows how to fly the plane from the library. As Shruti reads out the instructions and Sinha gets closer, Jaga manages to successfully fly the plane. This makes perfect sense. Sinha still fires rockets at them, but they keep missing it because of Shruti's luck. I mean bad luck. One of the rockets comes back for Sinha and burns his cars. Sinha is now off their back, and they spot the circus train. It's still a challenge to land, and Jaga just plans to turn off all the controls. They stop the plane right before they're about to hit a truck and run towards the train. A man watches their shadows on top of the train and tries to look for them. They jump into a compartment with a ferocious tiger, but Shruti's bad luck, which is good for Jaga, helps them escape again. Let's just ignore how luck works. The man finds them as they get out, but Jaga throws him off the train. They enter another compartment with performers this time. They wear similar costumes and come across an Indian agent, Samir Jung, who is apparently working with Bashir. They try to dance with the crowd while they notice a contingent of soldiers celebrating an arms drop. They check out the map and head out to run away again. Shruti almost kicks a huge rock into the Fair of Demise, or a place with an exhibition of weaponry. Jaga and Shruti find themselves in a world where arms have been collected to cause destruction. Jaga knows Tutti Frutti is nearby, but he also wants to complete his mission. They notice men loading cakes and arms into boxes, which reminds them of the newspaper clipping about cake airdrops. They try to run away from camp, but Shruti keeps being clumsy and gets them caught easily. He still believes in the magic of her bad luck, as they're taken and tied with each other in a room. Tutti Frutti is trying to climb the same mountain, and unintentionally kicks the same rock Shruti did earlier. It makes its way towards the camp, and everyone runs for their lives. The rock dismantles the whole camp except Shruti and Jaga. They manage to escape again, and move through the train where Tutti Frutti is working. Shruti's clumsiness throws Tutti Frutti off the train, and he is stranded in the middle of nowhere. Jaga and Shruti get out of the train and start driving, but Jaga gets shot in the arm. He joins Shruti inside the car. As she's distracted in tending to his wound, she hits Tutti Frutti on the road. They get out to check who it is, but Tutti Frutti runs away. Jaga recognizes him, and sings the same song he sang when he was a boy. Tutti Frutti joins him in the song too and hugs Jaga. Bashir Alexander's racket is exposed because of an anonymous video possibly sent by Bagchi and his team. Jaga finds Tutti Frutti and Shruti sleeping in the same way, and tries to kiss her. He pretends he wants to use her lip balm when she wakes up, but she kisses him. Jaga comes to meet the students at the circus with Tutti Frutti, who is glad to see Jaga happy with Shruti. The children now know Jaga won the war by just switching the covers of the boxes with cakes and guns, so they arrived in different locations and got found. As they celebrate, the lights go off. Shruti is left with the kids while Jaga and Tutti Frutti find themselves kidnapped by Bashir Alexander.